one guy we've been talking about a lot is John Klingberg. And one thing that we've been talking a lot about John Klingberg is, for a defenseman, he doesn't overly play a bunch of defense. He's an offensive defenseman. I'll give him that. But that defense title is literally just a title, I feel like.
Oh yeah, like those like cards that JFresh posts on Twitter that say like, oh, this is like their offensive like percentile and their defensive and then like combined. Like for the last at least few years that I've seen, and it's probably been most of his career, the offense is like high 90s, and then the defense is like
zero.
Or zero. Yeah. Like it's just like abysmally low. So it's kind of nuts. But yeah.
So on that line of thinking, I had an idea, because going into this season, remember, he was trying to get heavily paid. And by the sounds of it, Dallas had offered him a 7x8 contract. But he had held out thinking that he could get more. Obviously, that didn't happen. He got the 7, but for 1 year and in Anaheim.
Yeah.
So, and with how he's been playing this year, and again, considering it's on Anaheim, he still has not looked good by any means. He's not helping his case at all.
Yeah.
And it's primarily on that defensive side, I feel like. Because the offense is still happening every now and then. Right? Yeah. When given when there's a good opportunity to not fire into somebody's shins, stuff is happening. So he might be hard pressed, especially how this season's going, to find work next season. What if somebody, whether it's Anaheim, if they decide to keep him, after this summer, say he doesn't get traded and Anaheim decides to keep him around, right? Or if a team does trade for him and is able to do an extension, or even if he goes back to the free agent market and he gets picked up. Just an idea. What if whatever team he's on pulls a reverse Brent Burns? Take him off D because he is a complete liability there as a defenseman, which is horrible. And try him on the wing. Because he has the offensive.
It's for sure.
He has the offensive prowess, for sure. He can't do it defensively, though.
I personally like this idea, but realistically, I think there's a few just flaws with it and why it wouldn't be executed. And the number one reason, I think, is that there is enough forwards in the NHL that are overpaid and don't play enough defense as it is. We don't need to take another overpaid player and try and make him play defense as a forward, because realistically, you still have to play defense as a forward. And John Klingberg, with his point production over his career, yes, he's a defenseman, but I don't think he's going to become a forwards and all of a sudden double his point totals. I still don't think he'll be able to outscore his defensive liability, even as a winger.
Maybe not him specifically putting the puck in the net, but just giving him the more freedom, I guess, to just focus on the offensive side. And because we know the guy can pass.
Yeah. So I'm kind of hearing if he's a wing, correct me if I'm wrong. I don't want to be
if he's
sound
a winger,
like I'm putting words in your mouth, but if what I'm kind of hearing is you're saying if he becomes a forward, you can kind of look past how badly his defense is, or give him a pass for how bad his defense is, because it's he's a winger. That's not his job. We can blame the defenseman.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay. I didn't want to be putting words in your mouth, but that's kind of what I was hearing.
That is pretty much the idea, right? So because you look at him and you go, oh, he's a defenseman. Let's take a look at his defensive number. What the